conspiracy theory author in the world, and he gave me a quote, and I'll just read part of it. He said, "Don't miss this tour de force." That's what Jim Morris told me. That's what Jim Morris says on my book, so I'm proud of that. And thanks a lot for having me. It was great talking to you.
Okay, Douglas, well, you have a great week. It's coming up, and again, I enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you. Thank you. Hope to speak to you again.
Okay, you take care, my friend.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, James, we're going to go on break, and then when we come back, we'll have Sam, and we'll just, maybe do a little bit of talking about, again, the Earth changes, and let's do a little bit about, a roundtable about the show we just had. And we'll be back in 2.5 minutes. You're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio After Dark. Again, check out our website. I just updated it again today at www.nightdreamstalkradio.com. Check out who some of our guests is coming up is. A crazy good guest. A great guest tomorrow is Terry Lovelace, and we'll talk more about that after the break.
You are listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio Network. From our compound to you worldwide.
He's been selfish and cruel since his youthful days in school. His siblings he never did treat well. His self-centered bent was his dark side lament, with a focus on hypnotizing spell. He memorized laws to help sharpen his claws for a future for which he was bent. The time would surely come when for office he would run and claim he was just heaven sent.
Another politician has just taken center stage. He tells all the people that he loves them so. He comes on like a sage, says with him they should engage. A false prophet selling endless empty prose.
He stepped over dead bodies on his climb to the top. The highest post was his aspiration. But he forgot to read the fine print in the contract that he signed, which caused a U-turn to his final destination.
Good evening, or morning, depending on your time zone. From the Pacific to the Atlantic to you worldwide. Get yourself a cup of Java and find a comfy, easy chair. And get ready for Gary and his guest on Night Dreams Talk Radio After Dark. And now, here's Gary.
And I got to work on my swing. I almost did a perfect swing right there. I could see that ball just going 300 yards. Anyway, this is Gary on Night Dreams Talk Radio. I hope everybody's having a great evening. Again, I want to apologize. We were off the air for the first 30 minutes. I have a new piece of equipment I wired in, and it was working fine all weekend. Worked fine all day today. I made calls, double-checked everything. Guess what? We went on go on the air. It was a one-way conversation. They could not hear me. So at least I have a backup system, and, we're back on the air. So, what can I say? Stressful day.
Yeah, it is stressful, and it's hard to do a radio show when nobody can hear you. But at least you got it worked out, and you got a show on, and you at least you think ahead. But still, it still takes time to get that done.
Oh yeah. Now, see, if I would be like some people, what would I have done? I would have been off the air and not even had a show tonight. Then I would have had 20-some radio stations, email me and calling me. What happened? What happened? And then I have to, it was good. All good.
Yeah, it did work out good. Plus, you don't forget you had Larry calling you, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, we have Sam out there in the background. Hey, Sam, how was your day today?
It was very tranquil for me.
Well, I'm glad for you. It sure hell wasn't for me.
I know, I heard.
No, that's the problem. You wouldn't have heard.
No, I didn't hear anything. That was the issue, and I had to message James to find out what the story was exactly, but I figured you were too busy to try to respond to me. I knew something was up.
Well, you know how electronic is. I got this new mixer. I put it in, and I tested it on Saturday numerous times, Sunday numerous times. Last night, my grandkids all came over, for my son's birthday. And I don't know. I'm going to have to do some checking because I got a funny feeling some wire got pinched, unplugged somewhere. I'll have to figure it out. But I'll tell you what, I could receive, I could hear James, but nobody could hear me.
Yeah.
I'm sure you figure it out.
Yeah, well, if I don't, I don't. I'll just pull out what hair I have left. Global warming, I tell you that, I was reading today, and I think I read it from James, so he's going to get credit for it. FEMA, 4 to 10 years if we have a major strike from a solar, flare.
Well,
yeah, that's. Go ahead.
The especially if it results in EMP, I think that's what you're referring to.
Yeah.
We just don't have the transformers are huge, the ones that power our grid system. And when you look at, it's just infinite. I mean, if those things get fried, there is no replacements. There is no backup transformers. They have to be built. So that 10-year time frame probably is very accurate. And we've already discussed some other ramifications of the power being out that's going to cause disasters at these nuclear plants because they can't cool them anymore. And from what I've gathered, you might as well expect about 90% of our population to die off within the first 2 years of an event like that.
Well, yeah, you're so right, because think about it. Okay, hospitals have enough diesel to run their generator for backup for about 5 days. Okay, what happens if they have no power? They can't do operations. They can't do MIRs. They can't do anything. I mean, it's going to put our medical field back into the Stone Ages pretty much. Now, nursing homes, what's going to happen there? There are going to be a lot of people dying in nursing homes, a lot of people dying in hospitals. People in general, they don't know how to fend for themselves. A lot of people don't even know how to start a fire unless they have a lighter in their hand or a book of matches. That is what's scary, let alone how to grow food. And if the power went out, say, in the beginning of winter, how many people would freeze to death right there?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You're absolutely right on all that. Plus, another kind of red flag or sign of the times, FEMA had all them caskets and they're planning ahead for this stuff, so to speak. So that's another scary thing. And if you want to know just how many transformers there are, next time you go outside in town, in your little town, my little town, I couldn't count how many transformers on 2 streets. Take that times one little town of 10 or 20,000 times Lord knows how much, not to mention just New York City alone. There's no. I think 10 years is probably an estimate.
Have you ever seen a power transformer pop?
Yes.
Okay. You see how fast they go? They just go poof, and that's it. And then they shoot out a lot of sparks, and then a lot of times they'll catch on fire. Could you imagine one right after another, or all at the same time doing the same thing? I mean, that right there would be crazy. Again, they're not made in this country. The power companies have a few in the hand for, in case one goes down, car hits it, goes down, and they have to replace it. They don't have thousands of them for your town. They don't have the big ones at the power, substations. If those go, that's all special order. They're made in India because they can do it with the high toxic oils they use, and it cool the windings down in the transformers. So, I mean, let's face it, society would break down within weeks. And then, I tell you what, up to 10 years or more, or even 4 years, I don't agree with, I have had some guests on and say, if the grid system goes down, it'll be pockets where the grid is up. Maybe, but I really doubt it because our grid system is so poorly designed. It's like taking wires and tapping off of, I mean, come on. Sam, you're into electronics. Could you just imagine you're just jumping a wire on a wire and a wire and a wire and putting a transformer to step it up and then put another wire to it? And it's crazy.
Yeah, well, the grid system is computerized too now, unfortunately.
Oh,
because hey, you hit the computer system and you lose control of the grid too. And the one thing that Congress had a study done by a committee, and I forgot what the cost was, but it wasn't an enormous amount of money to shore up the grid system in the event of an EMP. It really had to do with putting in proper grounding and certain types of protections that way to prevent the system from frying totally. And they turned it down. They just do not have a whole lot of stuff going on in the gray matter, obviously, to understand the ramifications of not protecting our system, because the consequences are going to be 1,000-fold worse if we ever have one.
Oh, and it's not it's when we have one. Let's be honest.
Right.
It will happen. Like I said earlier in the show, I don't know if you caught it when we got back up. We can spend all this money to want to go to Mars on a one-way trip. We can spend all this money to try to develop, ways to get there and to live on Mars. We can spend all this money to want to go back to the moon. Okay? Well, two things I think we should be spending money on. One is a grid system is more important than that, because I don't think we have the technology yet to successfully go and live on Mars and live more than a certain amount of time. It's a short-term life on Mars if we get there. Face it. The same with the moon. At least we can come back from the moon. But the money being dumped for that and the stupid wall, we could fix the grid system and a whole bunch of other things. We could, asteroids, it come close to Earth. I mean, it's just a matter of time. I was reading an article just yesterday that there was another asteroid is size of the Twin Towers that went by Earth, between the moon and the Earth. Now, one of these times, something big, and they didn't even know about it a month ago. One of these days, something's going to creep by, and it's going to slam into us. We need some type of better technology money spent where we can look for these planet killer asteroids. At least we can then figure out where it's going to hit, how much damage it's going to do, and try to move as much of the population as we can to, or be ready for it so we can keep functioning as a society.
Maybe they know something we don't know. Maybe there's like you talked about the planet killer asteroids, maybe they know that there is something ominous on the horizon, that any effort we make to shore up the grid or protect our population or all these other efforts are in vain, because they know this is going to be the event that's life-ending.
Yeah.
So sometimes I wonder if they're going to the moon or Mars or trying to hurry up. I'm talking about the elites. I'm talking about the people that seem to know something. I have a feeling they know something. I'm not saying it's that as dire as I'm trying to paint the picture, but they obviously know something that the rest of the population doesn't.
Well, that's
in my gut feeling.
They're sure expanding these underground bases yet and making them bigger for some reason and stocking them. So maybe they know something down the road is going to happen, or they just know what our number could, just like when you go to the casino, right? The odds are winning is very slim, but the odds are losing is pretty good. Maybe they have it. Maybe they know what it is, but they also know that if they came out and told everybody tomorrow, a killer asteroid has a 90% hitting on Monday, December 15th or whatever. Okay, I just use that as a fake thing. What would our society do? It would be worse than Watts. It would collapse instantaneously. It would implode on itself. I wouldn't want to walk down the street because everybody's going to be, depressed. They know that, oh God, I'm going to die here in less than a month. And then the other one is going to be people